Vampire is a classic arrow-suspended coaster at Chessington World of Adventures. This coaster just celebrated its 35th birthday, and it's one of the park's most popular rides. I will explain why in this review. In 1990, Chessington added a new themed area in Transylvania. This land was anchored by the park's first major coaster in Vampire. This was the first suspended coaster from Aerodynamics built outside the United States, and it's the only one to have ever been built in Europe. The coaster was popular from day one, but began having mechanical issues in 2000. These were so severe that the ride was kept closed for the entire 2001 season. Complicating the matter was that the original manufacturer in Aerodynamics had just gone bankrupt due to the financial overruns from X at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Rather than scrapping the coaster, the park hired Vekoma to overhaul it. The coaster triumphantly returned in 2002. While it featured the same name, there were some big changes. The original arrow-suspended trains were replaced with open-air trains from Vekoma. There were pros and cons to these. On the bright side, the new trains offered more freedom. This made loading easier, and it allowed the legs of riders to dangle freely. Plus, these trains lowered the ride's minimum height requirement down to 43 inches, or 110 centimeters. This was a major win for the park's family-friendly audience. On the downside, the new trains offer a tamer ride experience. The older trains swung considerably more. This is evident in videos and corroborated by those who rode both trains. The park also had to modify the tunnel in the second half. It originally was longer, darker, and themed, but to accommodate the larger clearance envelope of the Vekoma trains, the tunnel was shortened and the theming was removed. Vampire was also reprogrammed in 2002. The second lift hill was modified to function as a block zone. This allowed 3 trains to operate smoothly. Originally, the second lift hill was not a block zone with arrows programming. Trains would often get stuck here if the ride ran 3 trains and dispatches were not fast enough. Back then, guests only had 35 seconds to enter and exit the train. While the ride would fault quite often, this quirk forced the coaster to have a very high throughput in its first decade of operation. Crews would try their best to prevent shutdowns. While the ride had a simple over-the-shoulder restraint, the bucket trains were a bit cumbersome to climb in and out of, so it was impressive the ride could hit the dispatch interval as often as it did. The modified programming improved the coaster's uptime, but crews now load this coaster at a more leisurely rate. This has led to much lower capacity. Another factor is that Vampire now runs just 2 trains. This is what I have seen in all my visits to the park, and what I've seen listed in all trip reports recently. Each train seats a max of 24 riders, as it has 12 rows of 2. I've seen a few posts that the third train was converted into a part donor, which is unfortunate if true, given this coaster's really long duration. As a result, Vampire often has one of the longest lines in the park. It hits the 45 to 60 minute mark most days, and it can stretch to 90 minutes and beyond in the busy summer months. It has some cool things to see at least while you wait. The queue is themed to a graveyard, and the coaster cycles past you at several points. Then the final part is indoors. This has a dark and creepy vibe, as it feels like catacombs. Then the load platform is mighty impressive. It features a vampire animatronic playing an organ. This is a neat touch and one of the ride's most iconic features. What are the best ways to avoid a long wait? The best approach is to be at the front of the rope drop crowd and make this your very first stop. A lot of people head here early, so this only works if you're one of the first people down there. This ride tends to have a long queue all day long. This coaster is included in the park's paid Skip the Line Pass. Reserve and Ride offers all-day options starting at just £15. That price will increase if you want faster boarding and/or visit on busier days. There also are single shots available starting at £8. You bypass the outdoor portion of the queue and join the indoor portion. It is not instant access, as you still have to wait maybe 15 to 20 minutes, but it definitely beats the standby queue. At the end of the queue, guests are assigned a row. In my visits, staff members have not taken row requests. They typically fill the train front to back. I have never gotten the front, but I imagine it's cool for the unobstructed view. But I have gotten the back, and there are some nice swings there. Once seated, riders are secured by over-the-shoulder restraints. I wish this coaster had vests or lap bars like Vekoma's newer suspended coasters. Vampire track's okay. It is not rough, but there are jolts along the way, so it is possible to hit your head if you're not careful. Once checked, the coaster heads up the first lift hill. You cannot see much because you're surrounded by trees, which is a recurring theme of this ride. I love Vampire's setting. The coaster begins with a downwards S-bend. You get a good swing at the end of this. This leads directly into a helix. The entry offers another sweet swing. No major G's here though. The next two turns offer some G's and are back down at ground level. You then hit a short brake run and head up the second lift hill. This one is longer than the first. This coaster is commonly reported to have a 70-foot or 21-meter tall height. I suspect that is the ride's total elevation change rather than the true height of the lift hill. But if someone knows for sure, let me know down below. Once atop the second lift, there's a small dip. Then, you have a series of aerial S-bends. Initially, you pass through a themed town. I love how this looks both on and off ride. Next, you pass over the midway to the ride's entrance. Then, you pass over the coaster itself. This ultimately leads to Vampire's best element, a large curved drop into a tunnel. This offers decent G's and good swinging. The tunnel is brief, but fun. Then the turn out of it offers another strong swing. Vampire then passes over the second lift hill and suddenly loses most of its speed. The finale then has some mild bends. You head indoors and hit the brakes. You then return to the station, ending the 2,200-foot or 670-meter long experience. That is not a lot of track length, but the overall duration feels much longer due to the two lift hills. This does hurt the pacing though, but the downhill bits work well enough. So, what would I rate Vampire? I would give this coaster a 5 out of 10. This is a fine coaster. There are better suspended coasters out there, but this is still an enjoyable family coaster. The wooded setting is excellent, and the ride's best aspect by far. The ride does not have too many notable elements though. The one standout element is that swooping drop in the second half. I wish the ride was a bit smoother, but it is still perfectly tolerable as is. Of the Arrow suspended coasters I have ridden, this is one of the weaker ones. While Transylvania has since been converted into Wildwoods, this coaster is still a marquee attraction for the park, and it should continue to be a crowd pleaser for many years to come. Those are my thoughts on Vampire Chessington World of Adventures. What are your thoughts on the suspended coaster? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, I would appreciate it if you gave this video a like, and you consider subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.